Well, thanks for staying with us on the program this morning. Fun fact I gave you before we went on the break in terms of the shift in generations. We talked Gen Z, and now we're talking generation beta in terms of children born this year up until 2039. But in the interim, let's talk about the year 2025. Last year was a leap year, and this year the calendar returns to 365 days. In terms of planning, how do we begin each day? Joining us on the program this morning is Mrs. Victoria Yoosuff, who is a life coach and relationship expert. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
And a happy new year.
Happy New Year to you.
And now, talking about turning plans into action in terms of the new year, a lot of persons, I don't know if you do so, come into the new year from either a religious perspective or a need for economic prosperity. So we see intentionality, especially on the first day. Some people either do a crossover at their places of worship or bring out their planning materials and begin to calculate how much they need to achieve a certain project or goal this year. I don't know which you do and what informs that choice.
Well, for me as an individual, I am more of both because first we are religious and I'm a believer, and so yes, I was in church and I did the crossover. However, I also have planned ahead, so I didn't wait for the first day or 31st of December. So I ensured that I did both. But you know, a lot of us in Nigeria or in Africa tend towards the religious aspect alone. And so you see troops of people going to church on the 31st. In fact, believers will go maybe by 9 or 10, but some other people will wait to like 4 minutes to 12. And then you see like a whole lot of crowd rushing into the church because they feel that, oh, let the new year just meet me in church. And before you know it, the next year is settled for life. And well, maybe it works for them, but I doubt it. So a lot of people do more of the religious aspect. They believe that when the pastor prays for them, that means they're going to achieve financial prosperity. They're going to have settlement in their marriages, their economic things. Everything is just going to be settled because a man of God prayed for them. But, you know, we all know that that alone can't solve the issue. So the thing is, apart from those prayers, apart from your affirmations, apart from the prophecies about the new year, you have to be intentional about your decisions and your planning. So you can't just go thinking that, oh, because they poured anointing oil on me, or they lay hands on me, or they prophesied over me, everything about my finances is going to be okay, or everything about my relationship is going to be okay for the next year. So we have to take our lives more seriously and plan properly, not just say amen, shout yes it is so, and you think that everything else will just be in sync.
Well, it's interesting to hear you bring the financial prosperity angle to it, because from the religious step, would I say, of faith to pray about the year, it needs to be consolidated about certain key things you do to achieve that financial prosperity. And it comes with planning, especially with the finance at hand. In setting goals, a lot of persons have different things they would consider a successful year. For some persons, getting married would be the height of the success.
Yeah.
Other people probably owning a car, buying a land or something. But whatever their goal is, how do you plan for 12 months, or should I say 365 days, and follow those plans through? Do you break it down into daily plans or weekly plans? What's the formula you use?
The first most important thing is to know where you are as a person and know where you want to go to. Then you ask yourself, what are the things that I need to do? Those are the goals we're talking about. Then you have to write them down, no matter how lofty those things are, or no matter how myopic they are. You just have to write it down. You have to break it down to steps and say, oh, in the next 365 days or the next 12 months, this is what I want to achieve. And then you break it down and say, okay, for me to be able to successfully get to this goal and achieve it, what are the things I'm going to do? Maybe you have to wake up a bit earlier. Maybe you have to read some books. You have to go to some seminars, develop yourself. You know, a lot of people do more of New Year resolution than setting of goals. which is totally wrong, because that will not take you anywhere. It will just make you keep going around in circles. So if you are deliberate about this year, you have to sit down and write your goals out and place them in places that you can see it often, and then talk about it, affirm about it, see it regularly, and then be able to break them down to daily tasks, weekly tasks, monthly tasks, and things. They have to be SMART goals, as in specific, it has to be measurable, it has to be realistic, and time bound. So all this has to work hand in hand. But a lot of people will just say, I want to stop smoking, I want to buy a car, I want to build a house, I want to buy a land, I want to get a new job. When? How do you intend to do those things? When do you want to start? So if you want to do it properly, now you have to say, for example, I want to get a land. What is your salary? Or what's your profit from your business? What quantity or percentage are you going to save per month for you to be able to achieve that? In fact, how much is the land? So if it's like a land, Abuja lands are very crazy now. So you can say maybe 500 million, 3 million, depending on the location, because we have different types. So is it the one with CEO and the proper document, or from one village community? So you have to go to those places, locate the land, know the amount, and then break down your savings. Or if you already have previous savings from the previous year, you now look into it. Oh, I want to cut my spending down so that I can be able to achieve this target saving per month or per week, depending if you are working and collecting salary, or you're a business person and you make XYZ profit per day or per month. So if it's that, you just have to be very strict to those plans or to those goals. But a lot of people are often, they'll just set goals and then assume that, oh, because I wrote them down in a jotter, a holy jotter, I kept it somewhere, and you just assume that miraculously somehow it's all going to work out. It's not like that. It's a task that needs deliberate actions, and you have to be determined. You have to have accountability, personal accountability, and then you can decide to attach yourself to someone who can be your accountability partner, and that can also help you achieve your goals faster.
Now, let's talk about this accountability, because I heard you use the SMART goal ideology. Now, in being accountable to yourself, irrespective of whatever goal you choose, is there supposed to be like a reminder you set, or how do you hold yourself accountable?
Of course, there have to be reminders.
This is like we say, okay, I want to wake up early. I can set an alarm clock to remind me to wake up early. But in terms of, say, savings or the actionable plans you say, how do you ensure that you're accountable to yourself? Because a lot of people will just look, and since it's just themselves, there's nobody to say you failed on that. They just let it slide.
That's why I said you have to be deliberate. If you want to achieve greatness or any level of success, you have to be determined and deliberate on your goals. So whether it is personal accountability, or you want to go for a professional person that will stick to you, or a friend or a family member that will stick to you and be reminding you about these things, you just have to be very determined and deliberate about your goals. If not, before end of January itself, you just, now my work, my family, school fees, house rent, and before you know it, you just relax on everything that you intended to do from day one. So you have to be determined to say, this year is going to be different. I'm going to set goals. I'm going to remind myself. I'm going to be accountable. I'm going to be responsible for my previous mistakes and for where I am and the things I want to do. Then another thing is, no matter what it takes, you just have to be ready for it. For example, if you want to maybe write a book, for example, you could just set an alarm. You could set reminders and say, okay, I want to be able to write 3 chapters or 3 pages per day. And if it means you setting a reminder for yourself and say, I want to wake up 4 a.m. every day so that I can achieve this in the next 3 months, then you just have to deliberately do that. But if you know yourself that it's not going to work, as in personal accountability isn't working for you, please attach yourself to someone else that can keep you on track. I do that for people, and I'm also an accountability partner for my clients.
Now let's talk about attaching yourself to someone, because the adage that says bad company corrupts good morals. You talked about lifestyle choices, so people want to quit some habits going into 2025, but the challenge is that they find themselves in a circle where these people are either business associates or they have a productive venture together. But on the sideline of this productive venture, they now engage in other lifestyle habits that they're looking to quit. In being accountable in that way, how do they now find people outside that circle so that they can break from the culture of habits they are looking to?
That's why we have professionals that are accountability partners, life coaches, mentors, and counselors or consultants. So you can actually still have some friends, not all, because there are some that you just have to cut from if you really want to achieve your goals. But if there are some friends that you can still maintain and still have an accountability partner, that will be fine. But if you know that this circle of friends are not helping you, oh boy, run. You just have to cut away. So that's just it. But if you know that you can still maintain your regular circle of friends, your business partners, and be able to account for certain things, then you can actually do that. But most of the time, it's good to isolate yourself sometimes to be able to achieve your goals.
Let's talk about this isolation, because a lot of times people tend not to understand the isolation. So people feel like this person just feels like he doesn't want to be with us anymore. Is he feeling bigger than us? How do people who are looking to achieve their goal through isolation also be able to rest family and friends assured that they are not cutting off because they don't love them anymore, but they need time to work on themselves?
Self-discipline. You just have to tell people that you need to tell. You don't need to explain yourself to everybody, but there are some key people that you need to tell about certain things that you want to do. For example, if you want to maybe buy a land, maybe there are some places that you used to go to and you spend like 100K per day, or you blow 10,000 or 5,000 or 15,000, 50,000 in a sitting. And you know that, okay, now I have decided in this January that before December 2025, I want to be able to have a property of my own. Either it's a car or a land or a house, depending on your capacity. You just have to tell maybe your spouse, maybe your friends, and say, oh boy, I can't go to so place again. You might have to explain to some that are key, important people in your life. And some other people, you just let them know that, oh, sorry, I'm busy with work, or something came up, I can't do that. Because some people are threatened with our success. So it's not everybody you can tell that, oh, I want to buy a land. Some people will say it's family people or village people that is following you. And before you know it, you'll not be able to achieve it. Some people will deliberately do things to distract you from those goals. So you can't explain yourself to everybody, but at least you can go to an extent and explain to your wife or your relations and tell them that, oh, I love you guys, but so attribute that you people are asking me for, I can't do it for now. This wedding that you want me to travel and spend 500,000 or more on ticket fare for my family and all that, I can't do that, but I can send you 50,000 for the wedding, or I can send you 10,000 for the wedding, but I can't come. So if you are that determined, there is nothing that is going to stop you.
This also just picked up my next question. Financial commitments in line with responsibilities that people expect you to hold up to. Saving in line with this is one of the challenges a lot of Nigerians face, especially in the advent of WhatsApp groups. You might just be sitting as you are at the end of this conversation, you pick up your phone, and most times, even without your permission, you've been added to a few groups where you need to support. I see you laughing. I think you have that personal experience.
Of course.
You have to support financially. And you have goals you've already set. Oh, this 2025, this is what I need to do. How do you not be the bad person and be able to support others while remaining financially committed to these goals you have set for yourself?
I don't mind being the bad person if I have to achieve my goals. However, this is what I usually tell people. Budget. If you're a salary earner, budget. If you're a business person, please budget even more. So as you do that, you would allocate some money or some amount or some percentage of your income or your profits to freelancing, generosity, helping the less privileged, helping your extended families. So if your salary is maybe 200,000 and you decide that, oh, I'm giving out 20,000 per month for anybody that wants assistance. If 10 people comes in this January and say, oh, I need 5,000, I need 50,000, I need this to start a business. The best thing you can do if you love yourself and you want to achieve, look at that 20,000 and say, who do I give it to? How do I share it? Do I give this person 1,000? Do I give this person 2,000? Do I give this person 10,000? And share it, then close up, as in lock up. That is what I advise my clients, and that's what I do. So you cannot come and ask me for 50,000 in January when my budget is 20,000. I'll just tell you, oh, sorry, I could add that to next month, but for this month, I've exceeded my budget. Initially, people will be saying, she's proud. He's proud. And what does it feel like? And he cannot help us. He's no more there for us. He's this and that. But your life and your commitment to your goals is what matters the most. And that is what, in the long run, people will respect. But if you are this type that they ask for 100,000, your salary is 150,000, carry it. Don't worry, send your account details. And you're doing that over and over. The day you break down, and those people are not able to help, most times they won't even be able to help you. So if you break down financially, or you go into depression and you need some sudden help, and those people are not able to help you, they will mock you. They will remember that, oh, out of 500,000, you gave them 400,000. Or you helped the church in this. Or you helped the neighborhood this. You did that. You gave out your car. They don't care. Your success is what will make people even appreciate you more. Your determination to becoming who you want to become is what will make people respect who you are in the long run. But if you are this person that it doesn't matter, and they say we should be generous, give, it shall be given unto you, pressed down, shaking together, and all that. That's your motto for 2025. Oh boy, you will go broke Sunday.
Talking about mottos, you just reminded me. It was interesting. We haven't asked Nigerians or seen it online. I know for 2024, the unspoken motto was no grief for anybody. I don't know how that motto fared for a lot of persons. But it's interesting to talk about mottos and mantras going into the year. I don't know if you have any for yourself, more like a promise you've made to yourself, or a mantra like you say going into 2025. This is what is going to be your guiding or watchwords going into the year. How do you come about it, or how do you set it for yourself?
Well, for me, usually I start my year from around November or December, first week of December. I sit down, I write, I pray, and I tell myself this is what I want to achieve for the next year. Steve Harvey said we should write at least about 300 goals that we want to achieve and read it to ourselves often. So sometimes when I do these things, it looks crazy, but I believe that God can guide us. And most times when I pray about it, I just feel that, oh, this year is going to be a year of open doors, or extreme favors, or a year of uncommon favor. And whatever it is that I say to myself, or my leaders...
Sorry to cut you, I'll borrow from that, a year of uncommon favor. Just to put that down. In case we forget every other thing, a year of uncommon favor 2025. You can carry on.
So when I say that, or my pastors say that over us, I don't take it for granted. I'll write it somewhere and I'll keep saying it over and over. And before you know it, I realize that it works like magic. So we can have words for the year, we can have for the month, we can have for the week. So it actually helps us to walk towards it, because your confession becomes your reality. So if you're always saying, my head, oh, my own don't finish, I'm dead or I'm mad, directly or indirectly, you'll become mad someday. So if we're always saying it's the year of uncommon favor, it's the year of new horizon, I'm going to places, I'm getting more connections, I'm getting favors all around me, or God opens great doors for me, people speak on my behalf in rooms I've not been able to enter myself. Consciously or unconsciously, God makes it possible for us. So it's very, very important that we have mottos that we live by.
Well, two things you've said that have stood out so far: budgeting and mantras, the year of uncommon favor, speaking positive into your life. Interesting to hear that you start your year in November, December. It's a time in which a lot of persons, owing to societal pressure, spend out of pocket even if they don't budget for it, just to be able to keep up, or also assume that they are there even if they are not there. In line with this, would I call it peer pressure or societal pressures, how does someone still keep with the goals they have written down and not tilt to wanting to play to the gallery?
It's almost impossible to do both. You can't eat your cake and have it. So if you really want to achieve your goals, stick to your goals.
Mind you, some people would rather incur debts just to keep up
Yes, I know.
his social status.
Yes, a lot of people want to, flow with the Joneses, and it will cost you more. Because if you can't afford a car, why pretend that you can? Why go borrow loan to get a car? Why go borrow loan to buy a fancy phone, a gadget, television, TV, laptops, iPads, and things like that, just to make people feel, oh, I'm there. If you are not, please just stay where you are. If you really want to achieve greatness, start from where you are and then plan. A lot of people would do crazy things for weddings, for December spending, for children's clothes, for outings and things like that. I tell my clients, if you really want to make it in life, don't listen to anybody. Listen to God and yourself. You might listen to one or two people that are close to you, or get a mentor or a coach that can help you. But aside that, all those things of, oh, I want to do Ashebi, I want to travel to the village for December, I want to borrow loan for something very flimsy and things that doesn't give lasting pleasure or give you great fulfillment or make you closer to your goals and things you want to achieve in life, just let it go. It won't matter in the long run, because a lot of people live fake lives now, not only in Abuja, not only in Nigeria, all over the world, just because somebody else has it or somebody else looks like they have it. Like one of my mentors used to say, forget about what you see on social media, that if their camera just flips a bit, you will see their real life. A lot of people do packaging and lies and comparison, unhealthy comparison with people that is not even their associates or their clients or their competitors. They just feel like, oh, this person snaps also picture for their birthday or for their pre-wedding pictures. Oh, I must do my own better. You are not in a class with anybody. You are not supposed to struggle with anybody or compare yourself to anybody. So no matter what that person is achieving, celebrate them while you are working on yourself to become who you want to be. So don't go around and say, oh, I must wear this wig. I must do certain things because somebody else is doing. You don't know their source of income. You don't know their goals. Some people just want to live this life and not leave any mark behind. But some other people want to actually leave a mark that even hundreds of years later, 50 years, 20 years later, people are still celebrating them. People are still listening to their songs. People are still republishing their books. People are still celebrating the great things they have been able to achieve. So now look at yourself. Do I want to be remembered for something good? Or do I just want to live my life for me, myself, my family, and then die and be forgotten the next 2 months? So it now depends on who you are, and where you want to go. So if you really want to achieve greatness, if you really want to break out of the usual, you have to do something unusual. And the unusual thing is for you to set goals and stick by it. Set your budget and stick by it. Because the normal African person, oh, I have a visitor, go and bring those plates, go and do that special food. And then you will borrow things from your neighbors, you borrow things from malams and supermarkets or your friends to suit somebody. Some people even borrow clothes and shoes just to look like who they are not. So please, if you really want to achieve greatness in life, you have to be deliberate enough to say, I'm not doing this anymore. I will wear what I have. I will eat what I can afford. I will go to places I can afford. I will do certain things. and then gradually grow. If you believe in the process of growing, it might not look like much, but if you do it year in, year out, I assure you, you will become like a landmark. You will just stand out. And people be like, how did she get here? Did he achieve this? And then you'll be able to become a mentor and a coach to others.
Interesting. Now, to an angle of our social living that is very much one of the indicators or premises for why we do certain things is being interpersonal relationship. And I'll bring it to one of the most viral occurrences we see on social media nowadays. I don't know, I won't say the women folk, but it's becoming more common amongst women online, especially the single women now, to set certain standards of what they would take or won't tolerate or what they need to get life going. A lot of people now broke shame, or would I call it, rate people based on their financial capability. And then you see it online most times. People say their talking stages costs a certain amount of money. Or if you cannot afford a certain type of date in a fancy restaurant, you shouldn't approach them for courtship or to date them or to choose life partners. And it's growing amongst the youth these days. Monetizing interpersonal relationships or monetizing what it takes to get your time. And unfortunately, there's also the link between that and the sad occurrence of ritual killings or disappearance or kidnappings of certain persons. In speaking to 2025, for viewers who might be tempted to want to monetize time or this, just to avert the sad stories that we see online, what would you say to them?
It's unfortunate that a lot of things that are unhealthy, ungodly, are trending or trend more on social media. In fact, when you are doing something that is legitimate online, you might not get viewers. I've been on the social media space for many years, and I know how many subscribers I've been able to gather. You know, crazy things trend more. And the more we see this, if we don't address it, people feel that it's now the norm. It's totally wrong for either single guys or single ladies to monetize their relationship or focus more on the money aspect, because money will come and go. Money can cloud your views. And you know, some people will just say, oh, it doesn't matter, I want this, I want to actually raise my standard. Or somebody said, maybe a coach or a mentor said, raise your standards as ladies. So, you know, we have to raise our standards. That's not it. There are several other ways you can raise your standards without focusing so much on the money. The money will come and go, but your values. Some years ago, it was, what do you bring to the table? That was trending. And, you know, and people will say all manner of things. I am the table, or this and that and that. You just have to focus on developing yourself as a lady, developing yourself as a man. Create a good character. Have a good character. A good man will locate you. It's not until you go to a fancy restaurant. A fancy restaurant will come. It will go. If you want to date somebody, date the person because you like that person. Marry that person because you see a future with that person. These are the mistakes that some people have made that is making them that even after all the fancy restaurants, the guy kneels down in public, there's a video about it, it's going trendy online and all that. At the end of the day, sometimes on their wedding day, the man will slap them. Sometimes 1 or 2 weeks into their marriage, months into their marriage, a few years into their marriage, I'm done. I'm not more doing. I've had it up till here. And they will say all manner of things because they did not focus on the good foundation of a relationship. You don't rush into relationship because of money. That is why you see a lot of youths these days saying, okay, if somebody with money was able to take my girlfriend away or my fiance away, then that means I should do anything possible
to acquire
the money so that I can either get her back or get someone else and ensure that I'm able to spoil her or pamper her with so much money that she stays with me. Money can never replace relationship or friendship in marriage. So no matter how much money you spend, If you look at people that even go into divorce, some of them are very wealthy. So it's not the money that makes your relationship. And I'm telling you from a professional angle that I've counseled several people online, offline, and all that, relationship coaching, couples events, and all that. Money alone can never sustain a marriage, can never sustain a relationship. Even if you give the woman 1 billion every day, it can never, because there's more to it. There's commitment, there's communication. People want attention. So the man also wants appreciation. He wants to be appreciated for paying those bills, for taking you out, from, doing so many things. You need to talk with love. You need to relate with this person. Know the person's goals, know the person's ideas, know the person's likes and dislikes. So you don't just expect that, oh, because he has taken you to a fancy restaurant, he will always be able to afford it. So you can actually start small. So don't just go around thinking that, oh, because my friend did it in a fancy restaurant, I just have to do mine too. Or because it's now trendy. No, I can't. You can't come and propose to me in my mother's house or in my father's house. You can't come and propose to me along the road or in one cheap restaurant. Look at the background. Look at this. No, it's more than that. This is life. Forget about what you see on social media. Forget about the packaging you see all around, the lies and the pretense. If you really want to make your relationship work, know who you are. Discover your purpose. Discover where you want to go so that you can know who can fit into that. Not just anybody that has money. A lot of people will travel from one state to the other because somebody is promising them money. And that's why we see a lot of ritual, missing bodies, and all that. So if you really want to make it in life and in this 2025, ensure that you discover your purpose first. Discover where you are. And then add value to yourself as a lady. You can't just expect somebody to marry you and spend all his money on you. What are you bringing to the table? What are you bringing to that man's life? How do you want to help him also achieve his own goals, his own ideas, his own purpose on earth? So you shouldn't just be about me, myself, and I alone. You should be able to be valuable in your speech, in your character, financially support that man. Because I keep saying money will come and go. No matter how wealthy that man is, anything can happen. You could be living in the duplex today and something happens, you can't afford the rent. Even if it's your own property, something can happen. You can even use it as collateral for something, a business deal or something, and it goes bad. You might lose your house. Do you now say, because you've lost that duplex, to hell with this marriage, I'm not doing anymore? It happens, but that's not what God wants us to do. So as much as possible, add value to yourself, be determined about your goals, work towards it, and then look for what you can add to that man, and let the men also look for what they can add to that woman. Because no woman wants to suffer in the house of a man, and no man also wants to suffer in the hands of another woman.
Well, so much nuggets you've dropped on the table this morning. I wish time would permit for us to have more robust and in-depth conversation on a lot of issues you've raised, but I think it's a fine place to leave it, and I'll give you the time just to share your wishes with our viewers and Nigerians for 2025.
Well, Nigerians, you need to set goals, work towards those goals, and know that there is nothing you want to achieve. If you don't write it down, you might never be able to achieve it. But if you write it down and work towards it deliberately, determined to achieve it, there is nothing you cannot achieve as a lady or as a man. Either in your relationship, in your business, in your career, you can actually achieve it all.
Well, thank you very much, Mrs. Victoria Yoosuff. I wish you the best of the year ahead.
Thank you very much.